News team gives you a closer look at the events that happened around Maine this week.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Cindy Campbell. Spring cleaning is here, and Challenger Learning Center in Bangor can help if you're looking to get rid of any unwanted electronics. I talked with Executive Director Kristin Hibbard about the Challenger Learning Center's e-waste collection event and what they have coming up this summer. So the Challenger Learning Center has a unique way to teach STEM subjects. Tell us about your program.
Yeah, so our focus is teaching STEM and learning about STEM careers and doing it for Maine students. And we serve all of Maine, and how we serve them in person, we have students come and run simulations of NASA missions. So in our building, we have what looks like mission control, and we have what looks like the inside of the International Space Station. And students go in and sit at those stations and perform jobs as if they work for NASA. So it's this really unique, cool experience for them to try out a STEM job. And then during COVID, we've added some new programs, which is virtual missions. Same idea. We connect with students, whether they are remote in their homes or even in their classrooms, but not going on field trips. And we run simulations of missions. We have two, one to Mars and one to the moon, where they still are in that job as if they work for NASA, but they're working remotely. And so we still are able to run mission simulations, but even remotely. So those are some new programs we have combined with our in-person missions, which we're going to start back up in the fall. So all very unique and really neat way to serve students in Maine.
I love the way that you do this, because I know for myself when I was in school, sitting in a science class and listening to abstract theories and whatever kind of went right over my head. It was white noise. I wasn't really listening. But something like this, you're doing it hands-on. You're there and it's fun, and you get an idea of whether it's something you might like to do later on.
Oh, we always joke that it's for middle school is our main audience, and we joke that it's like hitting over the keys to the car, that we really let them try that job. And we say, oh, your teacher's just an observer. You're the one in control. And we call them by their job title. We don't call them students or boys and girls or anything like that. So we really try to let them have ownership, to feel like they made the decisions, and we'll kind of look around and be like, I'm using the math I just learned. And we're like, yes, you did. Great job, And so it's just exciting. It's really a role-playing thing, but, it really lets them have a chance to feel totally immersed and make those decisions and feel empowered, for that short amount of time, to have that little glimpse of experience. And then afterwards, we call it our mission debrief, but we do talk about, what did you do in your job today? Did you expect that? Did you like it? Did you see somebody else do a job? Or, and they do things like teamwork. They have to work together, collaborate, present their opinion and their data. And those are all real world things.
Right.
It's very important too. And so it's just a really unique but fun experience.
You must be so excited to be bringing students back in the fall.
Yes, and we're working really hard right now, actually, to, put in all the necessary protocols and things like that so that, it is a safe experience and that we obviously meet the Maine CDC guidelines, but what would also kind of be in place in most schools, too, so that it is a welcoming and safe, comfortable environment when they return in the fall.
Right. So you must be very busy. You're working on all of that, plus you're just wrapping up April vacation camp, right?
Yes, we're wrapping up our virtual April camp, which is exciting. We have made up boxes of experiment kits. We mail them out to our campers, and we connect with them 1 hour for each day during April camp. And that's fun because usually our campers come from greater Bangor area.
Right.
But now we have campers from all over the state, because now it doesn't matter where you live. You can still attend virtual April camp with Challenger. So that's an exciting change for that, too.
Very nice. And obviously fundraising is a big part of what you do to fund all of these programs. And you have an eco-friendly event coming up. Tell us what's going on May 1st.
Oh, yes. As a nonprofit, we are always fundraising, and we have a very popular biannual event. So our spring event is our e-waste event, and it's an e-waste disposal event. And it's open up to residents of any community. You don't have to just live in Bangor. And the idea here is that on Saturday, May 1st, residents can bring their e-waste to be disposed of properly. So you say, okay, what's the e-waste? Well, e-waste are those. They're the TVs, laptops, the iPads, monitors. If you have old scanners, printers, any of that, you're able to recycle it responsibly instead of just putting it on the curb. And it actually is a very quick and efficient event for all the people that are bringing e-waste.
Right, you have people who help with unloading, correct?
Oh, yes. In fact, if you have a big TV or that big computer that's so heavy, as long as you can get it in your trunk, we will get it out. In fact, it's a drive-in, drive-out. You don't even have to get out of your car. So when you pull in, the first stop is if you'd like to make a donation, because Challenger doesn't benefit from the e-waste. We're benefiting from helping host this event for the community. So first we kind of collect some donations. Again, you can just stay in your car. And then we have little spots. We'll say, all right, pull up to spot 1 or spot 2, and you pull right up, pop open your trunk, or you'll tell them what you'd like them to unload, and then they'll unload it right from your car right there. So usually people are in and out in 5 minutes. It makes it a popular event, but a very efficient event for anyone who participates.
I think this is really great for someone who, talking about myself here, who every time there's an event that comes up like this, my husband is in a fishing tournament. So if it's a place where I have to take that big TV out of the trunk, then I can't go because I'm not going to be able to do it. But this way you have big, strong students there who can do it, for the drivers.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
Is there a list of acceptable items on your website?
There is, yep. So on our website, astronaut.org, you just type that right into the web address, astronaut.org, and then right on our homepage, you'll see a big recycle symbol, and you can click right on that, and it really gives all the details. It gives our address, what's accepted, what isn't accepted, and just some other little details, because I know if somebody hasn't been, they may be kind of curious how it works, and so that should give all the information that they need. And there's also contact. If you have something you're like, oh, I'm not sure, I don't want to load this, I don't know if I can bring it, just reach out to us. We'd be happy to answer your questions so that we make Saturday, May 1st, a really efficient day for you too.
Okay. So looking down the road, you're going to be offering summer camp activities, right?
Yes. So this summer, we are welcoming our first students back to our building. So we are going to have a mix of in-person camps, opposite weeks than virtual camps. For our in-person camps, they're very small for, groups of students, but they're some of our most popular camps, our Astronaut Academy, our Robot Tech Camp, and then our virtual camps. We had a lot of popular camps last summer, so we have a lot of virtual options available to students too.
Okay. And are the summer camps available? I know your in-person classes normally go toward middle schoolers. Does summer camp go toward more than middle schoolers?
Great question. So our in-person camp, we have 2 in-person camps are middle school, so they're 5th through 8th grade, and it's you're entering for the fall 2021. So entering 5th through 8th grade. And then we do have 1 camp for entering 3rd through 5th.
Okay.
And then our virtual camps, we actually have something to offer from everything from entering kindergarten through entering 8th grade. So a lot more range for virtual, a little bit smaller range for in-person.
Okay. And more information on all of that on the website.
Yep, astronaut.org, that homepage. You can click right to any of those, in-person or virtual, to get there's a ton of details to get all the details there.
Find more information at astronaut.org. Next, a new initiative through Maine's Community Action Programs and the Maine Children's Trust is helping community members learn more about child abuse. Here's more on the Front Porch Project with Christine McClellan of Panquist. What is the Front Porch Project?
So the Front Porch Project is a community-based initiative. It's founded on the belief that everyone can and should play a role in preventing child abuse. So everyone can do something. So we're offering a 4-hour training. It's a community-based training, and it helps increase the awareness of child abuse, helps identify each individual's own comfort level when it comes to a situation where they might suspect child abuse or neglect is happening. We talk about how people can get involved. We'll discuss possible responses to child abuse, interventions, problem-solving strategies. So it's open to anyone in the community.
Okay. I'm assuming that you will be discussing warning signs of abuse, things that people can look for that maybe a child is being abused?
Absolutely.
Okay. And helping them to know when to intervene, because it's not always safe to intervene, correct?
Right. And there's different ways to intervene. So when we think about child abuse, a lot of times people think about the worst case scenario. So this is a way that people can identify maybe some warning signs and they can intervene before abuse even happens.
Okay. And how are folks going to get this training? Is it available online? Or are you going to be going into workplaces? How will that work?
So we're offering all our trainings right now via Zoom, so they can contact me at my email address, or they can give me a call to find out when the trainings are available. We also post the trainings in a registration form on our social media page, on the Panquist Facebook page, as well as the Panquist Family Connections Facebook page.
Okay. And will there be resources available to people who think that something may be going on, but they're not really sure? Will there be resources where they can call and kind of bounce ideas off someone or get some advice?
So anytime someone suspects child abuse, they can certainly call the Child Protective Hotline and they can talk to somebody there about it. They are more than welcome to call the Prevention Council and talk about some resources that are available if they want to intervene.
Okay. Parents are facing a lot of challenges right now. Is it affecting this? I mean, are you seeing more cases of child abuse in the recent months?
So we are not Child Protective Services,
Okay.
so we really don't have that information. But we certainly do see that parents are under a lot more stress due to the pandemic, with losing their jobs or having their children home from school and having to try to balance the job and homeschooling.
Okay. The more I think about this, the more I think of that phrase that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to protect a child too, doesn't it? If a child is in a dangerous situation.
Absolutely. And like I said, and we all have something that we can offer. And we all have different comfort levels of how we might want to intervene, or even if we want to intervene. So we really explore that in the training, what our own comfort level is, and what are some things that we can do if we choose to intervene, and what are some things we can do if we don't feel comfortable intervening.
Okay. Where did the inspiration for this come from? Do you know?
Yeah, it came from the Pennsylvania Support Alliance. So we were trained by the Pennsylvania Support Alliance to offer this training.
Okay. And for folks who are out of Penobscot and Piscataquis County, this is being offered through community action programs across the state. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And if you're outside of Penobscot or Piscataquis County, you can go to the Maine Children's Trust website and you can find locations of the councils across the state that are offering this training.
Okay. What is Maine Children's Trust?
So Maine Children's Trust is the agency that runs all of the prevention councils. They're the ones that are funding this program.
Okay. All right. I read that they're funding it in part through donations that were made in memory of Marissa Kennedy, who, of course, died as a result of child abuse. I think that's a very productive way to use that money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So folks can get more information about the Front Porch Project on your website, correct?
They can go to the Panquist Facebook page or the Panquist Family Connections Facebook page. They can email me at cmcmillan, CMCMILLEN @panquist.org, or they can call me at 207-974-2481.
Okay. Christine, that's what I had. Did we miss anything? Is there anything you wanted to add?
Yes, so we do have 2 community trainings scheduled. At this time, we have one being held on Zoom on May 18th from 9 to 1, and another one on May 26th from 12 to 4.
And again, those are open to anyone.
Absolutely.
Find more information on the Panquist Facebook page. And finally today, anytime you're looking for resources in your community, whether it's educational opportunities, human resources, or even the location of the closest food pantry, the number to call is 211. Here's an interview I did with Program Manager Nikki Busmanis about this invaluable tool. So we all know, obviously, what 911 is. What is 211 Maine?
Yeah, so 211 is a free, confidential program that helps people connect to needed resources in their area. So we help people find and connect to resources that help them stay healthy, safe, and independent. So this could be everything from heating assistance and mental health resources to food pantries, housing, veterans assistance, and more.
Wow. And it is a huge variety of services. I mean, you go in there, you can find almost anything.
Absolutely. So it's interesting, depending on who you're talking to, folks who might remember 411 when you could call for information about, hairdressers or mechanics. Sometimes we relate it to that type of work, but really around health and human services. So again, the services that help someone stay healthy, safe, and independent, that's what we connect them to.
Okay. And you mentioned confidential. That can be really important with things like the mental health services or recovery programs for substance use disorder.
Absolutely. So that's one of the really critical pieces of the program. It is completely anonymous and a confidential resource. And we do that because we want this to be as low barrier as possible. And we know that there's a lot of stigma out there around asking for help. And like you touched on, Cindy, about things like mental health or substance use related resources. So we try to make it as easy as possible for someone to be able to reach out for help and then receive a referral as local as possible. So for people who haven't used 211 before, our specialists will ask the individual for their zip code. We'll ask sometimes about insurance, maybe their veteran status, because that will help determine what the most appropriate referral is. But by and large, we really don't ask a lot of personal identifiable questions of the person because we want it to be as seamless and confidential as possible.
And this is available all the time.
Mm-hmm. So in Maine 211, we are a 24/7 service. So whenever someone is ready to ask for help, whether for themselves or someone they know, all they have to do is dial 211, or they can even text with our specialist. So if you text your zip code to 898-211, you automatically connect to our same specialist here in Maine 24/7.
And you have a website too, correct?
Yes. If you go to 211maine.org, you can access our directory yourself. We always encourage people to either call or text with our specialists because it's the conversation that's really important. Some people know, I'm just looking for what food pantries are available in my area or what substance use treatment counselors are available. But for a lot of people with their needs, whether, again, if they're calling for themselves or on behalf of someone else, they're really not sure exactly what they're looking for. They just know they need help with something.
Right.
And that's why our specialists are trained to really figure out what they're really looking for.
And there's a huge amount of services available in the state. It's just a matter of accessing them and knowing what's in your area.
Absolutely. A lot of people are looking for services and don't know exactly what it's called. They just know they need help.
Right.
So our directory is kind of like a yellow pages of services across the state. And so we have a team of resource coordinators whose sole job is to update these resources to make sure they're as accurate as possible.
It's also a great place to find volunteer opportunities, right?
Yeah, so we work really closely with the United Ways of Maine, as well as with the Maine Emergency Management Agency and the Maine Commission for Community Service to try to help people find what volunteer opportunities may be available to them.
Okay. I love that because I hear people so often say, I would love to volunteer, I just don't know what's out there.
Yeah, I will say the United Ways of Maine and the Maine Commission for Community Service do a great job of maintaining. If you go to volunteermaine.org, there's a great listing of statewide opportunities that our specialists would refer people to, or they would refer them to their local United Ways, who are typically the go-to organizations for volunteer opportunities.
Yeah. Nikki, that's what I had. Did we miss anything?
211 is an initiative of the United Ways of Maine, and we work in really close collaboration with the State of Maine DHHS and with the Opportunity Alliance as our contact center vendor. So it's really a great public-private partnership that puts people in Maine first.
Find more information at 211maine.org or just by calling 211. I'm Cindy Campbell. Thanks again for joining us, and stay healthy.
Join us again next weekend for Maine Concerns with your Town Square Media News team.